My name is Anna. I'm an English former fashion and textile designer. I moved to Paris aged 23 to work for the French couture house Baumann and stayed for the croissants, the wine, and of course for Philip, a filmmaker from the South Tyrolean Alps. After 10 amazing years, getting married, buying and renovating 2 homes and having 2 babies, we decided city life was no longer for us. Philip had been dreaming of buying a chateau since the day we met and finally convinced me to start looking. We came to visit Chateau Garden. Despite being in quite poor condition and needing a complete renovation, we immediately fell in love. In May 2019, we got the keys to the chateau, our new home. With a tight budget, we had no choice but to do most of the renovations by ourselves. We're learning new skills as we go, building muscles we never knew we had, and getting creative to make the chateau as personal as possible whilst preserving its historic features. It's all part of this crazy family adventure, and we wouldn't change it for anything. When we bought the chateau, we inherited a box of documents, and in that box was this beautiful plan of the grounds. It dates from 1918, when the previous owners bought the chateau, and it shows us what the chateau grounds looked like at that time. On this plan, we can see the chateau and the stables and coach house, and 2 longhouses which are still existing. There's also several other outbuildings that have since fallen down or been destroyed. In 1918, we can see the extent of the land that was owned by the chateau at that time. Most of it was agricultural and used for growing apple trees for their Calvados and cider business. Unfortunately, over time, a lot of these parcels of land were sold off. Now what remains is this area here, which is still 6 hectares, so it's not too small. And we have an agricultural field here, and then we can see the grounds with the small woodlands behind the chateau. The chateau also had a walled potager, which still has 1 wall remaining, but unfortunately it's in our neighbour's land now. So one day we are hoping that we can create a new chateau potager in our own grounds.
Now there's a homepage in France, a government-run homepage. It's an archive of old maps and aerial photographs. And thus we only have a plan from the 19th century. I went on it hoping to find some maps of our gardens and our grounds older than the one we have. But unfortunately, on all the old maps, you can't see anything. But I did find one interesting thing, and that's an aerial shot from the 50s or 60s. And you can tell that our property was run as a cider farm because there are apple trees all over the place. Here's the horse chestnut alley, the Avenue des Marronniers, leading to the entrance of our chateau. And here's our chateau, the beautiful village church in front of it. And funny enough, in the 60s, the walled garden still existed. But all the rest of the property, apart from the landscape park, was filled with apple trees. Here, and even beyond. There is none of these trees left, unfortunately, but eventually we want to replant some of them.
It was really interesting discovering these aerial shots, but unfortunately it didn't help us with our gardening plans. When we bought the chateau, this whole area was completely overgrown. So in order to come up with our landscaping design, we had to clear this whole area. And that's what we've been doing for almost 2 years.
But you remember, Anna, after clearing out everything, it looked beautiful, but at the same time, we both felt quite overwhelmed by the task ahead.
Yeah, that's probably because our last house had a garden of about 60 square meters.
Yeah, which makes this area about 1,000 times bigger. So we were looking for inspiration, and we started visiting gardens in the area. And one day last year, we visited a garden, a beautiful garden called Jardin du Pays d'Auge, and it's run by an elder couple, and the 2 of them take care of about 4 or 5 hectares of beautiful gardens. And I asked them how they did it, how they started. And they said, don't make the mistake to start planting your garden without consulting a landscape designer. And she gave us the name of her landscape designer she worked with. Her name is Chantal Léjard-Gasson. And we reached out to her, and she's still working, and she came here and consulted us for a whole day. We didn't want her to come up with an exact design of the whole grounds, because we didn't have the budget to create a magnificent garden from scratch, and it's a project for us that will go on for many, many years. But we wanted her help to start and not make any major mistakes right from the beginning. First of all, we showed her our plans for the border at the entrance of the chateau, a border that was supposed to give us a bit more privacy from the road. And she realized that we planned it in the shape of the driveway which we restored. She said, the problem is, if you design a border according to your driveway, what it does, it emphasizes the shape of the driveway. And what the planting should do here instead is to communicate with the architecture, with the chateau here. So she came up with the idea to bring that back to grass, that's what we did, and then to create a hedge which is symmetrical and which is exactly in front of the door of the chateau. And she also spotted another problem from a landscaping point of view, and that's the fact that the chateau sits, and she said, like an island on a sea of gravel. And the problem is that there's no planting around the chateau that could relate the chateau to the surrounding landscape.
When we bought the chateau, it did sit better in its landscape because there was a wisteria plant, but it had been there for many years and it was completely overgrown. So as much as I love wisteria, unfortunately it was destroying the walls of the chateau, and I think you found some of it growing inside one of the rooms, didn't you, Philip?
Yeah, I did. I like wisteria too, but generally not climbing up walls of buildings. And also Chantal came up with an idea which in my opinion is much better, and that's to create a row of hedges, topiary hedges around the chateau. And these topiary hedges will frame the chateau. They obviously also create a symmetry with the hedge at the entrance. Another area where, according to Chantal, we should work with hedges is our parking. We obviously had to create a car park for the guests, and we need something to shield the parking from the view of the chateau. And I came up with a plan and I showed it to Chantal, and she started laughing. She said, I've chosen a good variety of plants, she likes them, but I've chosen way too many. So with her help, we reduced the amount of plants for that area, and some of these plants we were able to buy them at the plant fair 2 weeks ago. And today, Anna, we should clear this area and finally get them into the soil.
I've got my hoe.
Language, Anna.
A week ago we went to the tree fair, and the main reason we went there was to find plants for this area close to the parking. But since then we've had so many jobs to do, clearing and planting hedging, that we haven't actually got round to planting in here. So my job today is to clear all this weeds and all the overgrowth, and finally we can plant those trees. Philip, what is the plan here? Because I don't know what is a weed and what we have to keep.
I'm afraid everything is a weed in here.
Okay, really? Okay,
Yes.
so you want me to clear everything?
I do.
Completely?
I do.
Okay, I can do that.
It's going to be fun.
Yeah. I've got my cool tool that I love.
You're not going to get far with this one.
Well, it's really good because it gets the roots out. Look.
Yeah, but if you do this here, you will be still here by tomorrow.
I don't know, I think it's going to be very efficient.
This is one of the tools they make advertised on television, and you look at them and you think that's not going to work. And we bought it for some reason in a shop, and it did work. But it works if you have a couple of plants.
Yeah, but look, it gets the root out. That's great.
Well, Anna, then good luck.
Okay, I'll see you in a bit.
Now I'm really happy that the digger finished his job and removed all the excess soil from here, so we can bring the lawn back where it belongs. Unfortunately, as you can see, the soil is not perfectly ready now for the seeds. I need to flatten it. And usually there's a tool, a rolling tool, to do the job, but I don't have any, and I don't want to rent one just for that small surface. So in our old house near Paris, we had a similar situation, and I didn't have a roller. And I read somewhere that you can use a pallet to flatten the soil. And I tried it and it worked, and I will try it again here. The difference being here the soil is all wet, whilst in our old house it was dry and sandy. But let's see, maybe it works. I don't know how to cut this. I have this really sharp tooth here, and since my early childhood I use it to cut ropes and strings, and it never failed me. So either this works, and some of you might thank me in the comments for this good idea, or I look like a complete fool. Not that bad. I don't know if you can see this, but it does work. It makes the soil flattish. I'm pleased, it works, but it's not perfect. And I think the reason is because we don't have enough weight on the pallet. Hey Anna. Hi. Look, I need a child. Yeah, can you send me one? The small one. I know it's raining, but they need to toughen up anyway. All right.
3,
Ready.
2,
Okay.
1, go!
Now it works perfectly. That's perfect. Are you falling asleep, Ella? Oh, you're checking. It is dirty? Oh no. Oh no. Thank you so much for your help. Bye-bye. I'm really pleased with the result. And once again, it shows that you don't need to have expensive tools. A bit of imagination, an old palette, and a young child is sometimes all you need to do a good job.
I found treasure.
You
You
found
want to see
treasure?
what I found?
Oh yes, definitely.
Look. A coin. It's from 1950 something. I can't see, maybe 1957 or 58. So it's not that old, but I think it's been in the ground for a long time. And I don't know, maybe I'll find some more. I'm going to keep digging.
Do you always need to outsource the unpleasant jobs?
Yes, I've got my little helper here. Ella,
But
what
Ella,
are
what
you
are you
doing?
doing?
Ella, we're supposed to be taking the weeds up.
Don't mess around with the parking.
It is very satisfying though, doing this weeding.
So you haven't made that much progress.
Hey!
I'm just saying, it's a lot of work, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I'm getting there. Give me a few more hours and then you can plant your trees.
Is Mama doing a good job?
So Philip managed to get the car stuck in our neighbour's field. But thankfully, there's a nice friendly neighbour who's just driven past and offered to help us to tow the car out. What happened, Philip?
Don't ask. Well, I overestimated the four-wheel drive capacities of this car. Turns out it's not made to go into cow fields.
Why were you even going in there?
Because we have wood chips in there. And we want to put the wood chips on the hedge, which I finished planting finally. And now I need a plan B. And I think the plan B involves me, you, a wheelbarrow, and if you're lucky, the carpenter's son, who made a mistake to come by, and I kept him. Look, here he is. Now he tries to look away.
Bonjour Nathan!
Mais si je reste coincé, j'ai l'air trop con.
Si on le recroise et qu'il nord.
Ouais, s'il passe à nouveau et je suis à nouveau dedans, mais c'est citadin de... Bon. So I came up with another plan. We put a trailer there where I got stuck with the car, fill the trailer, and then from the street try to catch the trailer with a car and drag it out.
What could go wrong?
Everything. Yeah, faster. Faster. Mais ah, stop, non, on va pas dans la... On va le mettre là. Regarde, on va peut-être le mettre comme ça. Tu penses que c'est une bonne idée? J'ai des doutes maintenant. Que si on va plus loin, on risque de rester vraiment coincé.
Il n'y a pas un autre chemin.
Non. Non, je pense que... I think we stay here. That's as far as I dare to go because... So it's just going to be a little bit of lifting and... What don't we do for a hedge? So I think this is exactly enough for 20 centimeters of hedge.
So you're going to be doing this for a while then?
I'm afraid yes. Bah oui. T'es dégoûté. Ouais, mais j'ai la même chose parce que regarde, j'ai des trous. J'ai des bottes, mais ils ont des trous, donc ça sert à rien des bottes avec des trous.
Hey, it looks great.
Yes,
It looks like you're almost done.
we are done. So done. For something that wasn't even planned to do, it took me an awful long time. I thought it would take me a day, but it turned out to take 3 days. And that's only because I had the help of Nathan. And I think by now he really regrets to be here. Non? Tu regrettes d'être là? Ouais.
So how many do you think you planted?
I think in the end we planted about 250 plants.
So we bought about 150 too many.
Yeah, but you know what? I'm happy it was only 250. And in November we get rid of the laurels and plant them somewhere else.
Philip, it could be cool to do a drone shot of the finished hedge.
I'm afraid it's a bit too windy today. Now, this border to parking is still not 100% ready to be planted. But I have some plants and they need to get in as fast as possible because they look a little bit dry already. So I need to hurry up. And I have one big problem, and that's these 3 trees here. There's a small one and I can take this one and I can take care of this one by myself. But there are 2 big ones and, well, they are a little bit too big for my liking and I don't dare cut them down on my own. So I decided to plant anyway and to fell the trees later with some help and hopefully it doesn't land exactly on the plant. So I plant them where I think that the tree will not fall. Not very clever, but if I keep the plants outside I think they don't survive anyway, so that's my only and best option I have. If you wonder why we're cutting down these trees in the first place, well, these are sycamores and we have plenty of them and way too many. They are self-set and they are now even considered as a semi-invasive species here in Normandy. So we get rid of them to plant something different, some diverse trees from different species. Once they will be down, there will be more light here and the new trees will grow and we'll be happy. But now, let's go and fell the little one and hopefully I can still continue making videos after this one. Now, this was relatively painless for me, not for the tree. A bit of cleanup And then finally, I will plant our Mexican orange blossom. Unfortunately today, Anna took the car to go to Paris to deliver the wallpaper she made, so I have to do all by hand. I'm truly happy that this went well. Now for you guys out there, garden professionals, that might not have been much of a tree, but for somebody like me with a degree in philosophy, it was some sort of achievement. So to start with, I've chosen these plants, Mexican orange blossoms. They're beautiful plants, and in the summer they are full of white flowers, and I think it would look beautiful when you arrive here at the chateau and you park your car and you step out of your car and you see these bushes in flower and in the background the chateau. After last week's video, I got a reputation of being a bit slow in finding the ideal position for plants, but today I will show how fast I can be. This one goes here. This one goes here, and this one here. Now what do you think? What's that? So annoying, they're completely blunt. If anybody knows how to sharpen these things, please leave a comment. So and thanks to the YouTube comments I learned to do this in 2 times. Put them in, water them a first time so the soil has a chance to get all around the roots, and then fill it up completely. That's what I'm doing now. So I'm going to wait a little bit, and then I'm going to top this up with some nice fresh compost. And on to the next plant. If you think that in this time lapse I moved the plants after having planted them, it was an optical illusion. But what's not an optical illusion is there are more than 3, because I like them so much that I decided to plant a couple more, which means that I have to buy 2 or 3 more plants for this area here, because the point was to have it on both sides. But that's not a problem. I think I can get them easily from some local nursery.
Wow, Philip, it's looking really good.
Yeah, what do you think?
I think it looks great.
Last plant in, my favorite one, a Cornus. Cornus Venus. 5 orange blossoms and tons of mulch.
No, it looks amazing.
And I'm really tired now.
And don't forget all the weeding that I had to do, you know, to help for this.
Well, without your reading, we wouldn't even have started this project. So yes, it's a group effort. And I think it looks really nice. If you come here and you look towards the chateau for the first time, it doesn't look like some wild nature, but some slightly domesticated nature, and I like it.
Yeah, it looks so smart. It feels really exciting to finally be planting, doesn't it?
It does.
Yeah. Ella, what do you think? Does it look nice? Do you think Papa's done a good job?
And Mama.
And Mama, yeah.
Why is another one?
What do you mean?
Well, another.
Why did we put all the wood down?
Yeah.
So the weeds don't grow.
What's that?
Well, it's going to be a beautiful tree.
Where is that on it?
Yeah, I asked Papa too. I thought he forgot to take the net off, but apparently it needs to be on there. So don't worry.
That's what the guy in the shop said.
Do
So.
we need to take it off?
All right, Ella says we need to take it off, so...
Well, it's a bit late now, Ella, I'm afraid. Now I get him gardening tips from my 3-year-old.
And Philip, you know the coin that I found right here?
Yes.
Well, I cleaned it up and it's 1 franc from 1957.
Oh, nice.
How much do you think it's worth?
I think probably nothing.
Actually, it's worth 77 euros online.
Oh, you found treasure, Anna.
I found treasure right here. So
Nice.
I was thinking we could put it towards the repair of the drone.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, of course. Or we can put it towards a metal detector so that we can find lots more coins for all the future repairs we're probably going to have to pay for.
And I still don't know what you're talking about.
Come this way. I got my coin. Yeah. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button. For exclusive videos and behind the scenes updates, have a look at our Patreon page. Thank you so much for watching.